Okay, guys, Chris Cullen back with you on CC's Aquatic Adventures, and we're continuing the aquarium update tour, I guess you call it. This is the fourth video. I did the angelfish tank, I did the 40 gallon, and then I did a 55 gallon community tank. Now, the angelfish, of course, got the highest one. I'm actually curious to see how the guppies will do, because guppies are pretty popular too, and molly. So we'll see how this tank does. You guys know this is the only tank I have in my house that's in a living space. We like to keep this tank fully stocked with babies and guppies, and like to have a good amount of plants in here. Now, we had some issues with this tank, so we kind of lost some fish. You could tell that this tank is not as popular as it once was. So we're not happy about that, but we're doing some things to make it better, and hopefully we'll get the population back up. Now, there's many reasons for your population to go down when you have a live bearer tank. Okay, this is a live bearer tank. So this tank is, I keep the GH about 6 to 8 degrees, or 120 to 140 parts per million, and of course I keep the pH around 8. I don't really measure that a lot every day. I don't. I just, if I notice that I see some fish, they're kind of not moving around like I like them to, or if they're not breeding as much, I'll add some crushed coral in there. And that's what I did right here. I got a bag of crushed coral there, and I got a bag of crushed coral in the filter back here. And I run 2 filters in there plus a sponge filter. These are small filters, but I don't want to go too crazy with the filtration, because I do have babies in here. You can see I have the sponge over the intake, so we don't lose babies. This one here, if you ever have one of these internal filters, you notice if you ever put your hand up against it, there's not a lot of suction in there, so it's actually safe for fish. I've been using these for the small babies, or smaller tanks. The tanks with the smaller fish, I should say. Easy for me to say. So I do use those filters. And like I said, I keep the GH high and the pH high. And if I don't check it, and I notice that I've seen some babies missing, or if they're not breeding as much, or if I just notice a change in the way they're swimming, I'll add some more crushed coral, and then I'll check the water like once a month whenever I do a water change. I don't check the water every day. I just don't. A lot of my tanks are self-sufficient, and I don't do a lot of maintenance to them. I just don't. I like to have what they call, Corey from Aquarium Club calls season tanks. These are all season tanks, and they're ecosystems. So I have I have a lot of different species in here to handle whatever issues you may have, like as far as keeping your tank clean, like algae and anything on the bottom, any plant matter. I got snails in there. I got a bunch of snails. I got a bunch of live bearers. I got guppies, mollies. I'll go through what other fish I have in there, but pretty much I like to make my tank self-sufficient. And if there is a problem, you kind of narrow it down to what it could be pretty quickly, which is what I like about ecosystems, because if you do lose fish, you know that the tank is not going to be, you're not going to have a high ammonia spike, because you have creatures in there that will eat dead fish and dead plant matter, which is a good thing. That's why you like to have ecosystems. Now, unfortunately, when you have small fish, you don't really notice a lot of fish dying, or because it could happen overnight. You could lose a small baby or a couple babies, and they could be eaten overnight by bigger fish, or whatever other species you have in there, as far as snails and stuff like that. So it does happen. So you have to be aware of that. Now, unfortunately, in this tank, like I said, I always kept this tank fully stocked, but you can see there's a bunch of babies now, and a lot of the adults are missing. So I had a bunch of female guppies in here, but I lost some on the move, so we kind of expected the population would go down. And also, whenever you move, you're going to lose fish. But when you lose a female, is obviously that's who keeps the sperm. That's who has the babies, who drops the babies. So we kind of figured we'd have a little drop off, but I noticed a huge drop off. So we had the same issue back when I lived in the apartment over in Chambersburg, PA. We had the same problem, and I thought it was the cat. You know, we had cats over there, and the cats would get on top of the tank, and I had to block it off so they wouldn't go up there. So I was like, you know what? And I blocked it off, and I noticed a little bit of a difference. You know, I did notice some fish coming back. I did add some more plants to make it, you know, have more cover for them. But I still wasn't happy with how much the population I was getting. So, and I assumed it was the cats. So when I moved over here, I kind of figured that I would lose some fish because I lost females, but I didn't think I had that much population control. You know, obviously you have some population control with the mollies, and the guppies will eat their babies sometimes, but I did have a Siamese algae eater in here. I had him when he was very small when I was at the other place. He got bigger when he was in here. So, obviously you could take the cats out of the fish because there's no cats here. So, the next thing I thought was Siamese algae eater. So I took the Siamese algae eater out of there because I did notice one day he was chasing the fish around. Now, they're not really known to eat other fish, but they can cause stress. So if you cause a female guppy some stress or molly some stress, obviously they're not going to, you know, they're going to have some stress out, overstress. They're not going to release the babies. They're not going to drop your babies. So the first thing I did was take that Siamese algae eater out, and now, if you notice, look, I'll give you guys an up-close view. There's more babies in here, okay? If you look closely, you can see a bunch of small little guppies in there. This one over here, you can see the ram's horn snout right there, eating the algae, right there. And there's one over here too, somewhere. I think I saw him before. Well, the nearest nose back there, but anyway, getting back to the babies, you can see the bunch of babies, the mollies and guppies. Now you see this molly here, and then there's a molly over here. That one's a layered tail. I think this one's a female, but I could be wrong. I think maybe both of them are females. But most of the females look like, most of the babies look like him or her. I mean, you can see a beautiful coloration on these guys. I love the black and yellow. Those are my favorite colors. You can see there's a bunch in there. And there's smaller ones growing up too. Right there, another one. So these are fish I may want to take out eventually and sell them. If I do decide to breed, I'll have to do some work and get these guys out of here. But you can see all the babies in here and what it does when you take out a certain fish. You can see that they're much more active. And there's no, they're not stressed out. You know, it's crazy, man. Like, it's crazy over like one little fish can make that much of a difference. And obviously I do some stuff, and like I said, add the crushed coral, add stuff, stuff here and there. But a lot of times you make mistakes, man. When you like, my cat, when I had him, I did a place, he was kind of, he kind of liked to get into things, but he really don't. I don't think he would have got in here and ate that many fish. So, and obviously we rolled that out now. So it's huge when you figure out what's going on. And obviously, I'm a big believer in Siamese algae eaters, but you have to be careful what tank you put them in. I noticed when you put them in tanks with smaller fish, they kind of can be a little aggressive. When you put them in a community tank with bigger fish, and you have more feeding in there where you can feed them and there's more food for them to eat, I did notice a big difference in their temperament. But you also got to be careful. Like I said, we thought it was something else, but it's obviously we narrowed it down now. Now we knew it was the Siamese algae the whole time, even at the other place. So it wasn't a cat. So we're very happy with that. That we got it figured out, but like I said, also the fact that we moved here and we did lose some females, but we're gonna get some growth back in here and some more babies and more fish. Now the only problem I have in this tank is the fact that we did lose some plants, and there's a bunch of dead plants in here, a bunch of eaten plants, and I think it was because the Siamese algae was just, they eat the black algae, but sometimes the black algae gets on the plants and he was nipping at the plants, and they also eat plants too. So all this was gone. He liked to eat the guppy grass too. There's no guppy grass in here right now. I don't see any. There's hornwort there, and that stuff is moss. It's the I can't think of the name of the moss, but it's moss of some kind. But anyway, that moss he likes to eat, because I know he eats it in the other tank too. So yeah. Anyway, so you can see how many babies you got in. You got a bunch of guppy babies too. Now, I'll go through the fish we got in. You can see right up front there's a bumblebee goby. Those guys do like hard water. There's some snails in here. There's also, I have a platy in here somewhere. I don't know where we went to. Right there, there's a blue one. He's the only guy still in there. There's a bunch of snails, like I said, and guppies. Okay, guys, sorry about that. My wife came up and I asked her a question, and I wanted to get the name of the moss too. It's Java moss. I have a Java moss in like a lot of my tanks. I use it a lot for cover on the babies. But getting back into it, sorry I stopped that, but I wanted to make sure I got that name right. You know, other fish, the mollies, babies, guppies, the bumblebee goby, and that's it. So we got in here, guys. I did add this plant from the 55 gallon. I kind of wanted more growth in there. You can see another narrow snail here. Pretty cool. He's a spotted one. Right there. And there's one over here. Right in the gravel. And there's one back there. So like I said, this is a ecosystem season tank. You know, I run a sponge filter in here, and of course it sponges over the intake for the babies, and then I run the internal filter. And this tank is like I said, it's doing great. We had some issues, and people were going to ask me, why don't you get rid of the plant, the dead plants? Well, I'll keep the dead plants in there because of the snails. They'll take care of the dead plants. I may take them out, but we're going to go to the fish store here soon. Even though I made a deal with my wife, I got fish the other day at the local fish store here. I told her I wouldn't have to go for another couple of weeks, so we're probably going to stick to that deal. But once we go again, we're going to get some more plants and get this tank back up to where it needs to be. So, like I said, we got some more growth in here. We got some more babies. So the tank looks good. And like I said, this is the only tank we have in the house. And we hope to get this, with the population back up. And like I said, the population control usually is from the other fish eating there, but now you notice that there's no stress in here from the mama, so you won't see any loss of population. That's a beautiful guppy right there. See on top, he's beautiful. Yeah, very pretty fish. Like I said, the mollies and the guppies like the high GH and high pH, so we keep it high. Temperature, we usually keep it about 80, let's say 82, 84. Keep it high in there because that's, you know, they prefer the warmer water too. And you'll see once we keep getting more babies, we'll get more population in here, and we'll show you this tank in another update probably a couple months from now, and we'll see where we're at. And like I said, I want to take these mollies out and get them in a different tank so they could continue to breed. I love like I said, I love these mollies here. Very pretty layered tail mollies with the black and gold. So that's what we got this time, guys. This is the guppy tank updated. Like I said, it is what it is. It's not perfect. Like I said, it's got a bunch of dead matter in there, but you know, we keep the ecosystem alive by letting them eat that stuff. And there you go. So Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Let us know if you like this tank or not. I'm hoping to get some good views on it because we did get views in the angelfish tank. I'm curious to see what we get for the guppies and the mollies. Well, actually, probably call it the molly tank because there's more mollies than the guppies. But like I said, next time we'll give an update and show you how the plants are doing. I'll probably get rid of some of these dead leaves if it gets overgrown with them. And we'll make an update next time. Till next time, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Comment. And remember, if you can't own them, rehome them.